Aita for not wanting a relationship with my parents. Now they've cut me off. I'm a student. My parents make enough money that when I went through student finance to get my maintenance loan, I was told I could only get the minimum, just over $3,000 a year, because finance is calculated from what your parents earn and there's an assumption that your parents will help you out. I'm on a high-intensity course and I wasn't sure how I'd be able to balance studying and schooling. So when I found out I was going to get minimum, I told my parents I wanted to either take the coming year to save up and then go to my first choice university a year later than planned, or go to my second choice now because I wouldn't be able to afford to live in the city my first choice is in. My parents then said that they would pay my rent if I went to my first choice on schedule. They set me up in a studio flat, so all I had to do was get a part-time job to cover the cost of food and bills. On the 18th of February, my 20th birthday, they called me and said that I was relying on them too much and needed to find out what the real world was like by earning my own money, so they would cover my rent and phone for that month. So until end of February, and after that I was on my own. Then said that they were still my parents and they loved me and wanted me to stay in touch, just learn some independence while doing this. I begged them to reconsider, but they ended the call, so I had 11 days notice that I would have no flat or phone. I begged my uni for emergency housing, but they said that I had no proof I'd been cut off, so they couldn't do anything. I emailed my parents asking them to write a letter stating they'd cut me off so I could sort my student finance and emergency housing, but they said no. I asked work if I could take on more hours and was told that due to my contract I can't do any more than I'm already doing, so I'm now looking for a second job. I'm sleeping on a friend's sofa until a place I can afford opens up, and as I still don't have proof I've been cut off for student finance, I will probably have to drop out this summer. I got a Facebook message from them today telling me they were disappointed I didn't call on Mom's birthday a couple days ago, and that I've not given them my new phone number yet. I responded telling them the position I'm currently in and that I no longer want a relationship with them. I've gotten a bunch of messages from them and my brother's asking me to reconsider. My friend says I shouldn't feel bad, but I feel incredibly guilty and like a spoiled brat. Because I don't love my family for their money, I love them because they're my family, but at the same time they've really screwed me over here. Am I the idiot for not wanting a relationship with them? Update. I messaged them asking why they cut me off, saying the least they could do was explain why they're fine leaving me homeless. They responded, "My friend, the one I'm staying with, is an out and proud lesbian." There are maybe 2 posts about me on her social media, one being a group shot of us and some people we were studying with in the library with me and her sat together, and another from a couple days before my birthday where she posted a photo of me when we went to lunch because we weren't planning on seeing each other on my actual birthday, and in the caption she refers to me as princess in a clearly joking way. My brothers then showed our parents and told them I was a lesbian and she was my girlfriend. So now I have proof that they cut me off, proof they're homophobic, and confirmation that they can and will switch on me at the drop of a hat, as well as proof of my brothers, who are older than me and living with our parents, being jealous poop heads. They didn't just tell me this on the phone because they hoped I'd figure it out, which is tricky given that it's not freaking true. Apparently there's enough affection still there for them to expect a call on Mom's birthday, but not enough to not totally frick me over. So yeah, never talking to them again. Any of them. I've sent the screenshots to the person I spoke to in emergency housing, though I've been warned that for something called emergency housing it's not very fast. My friend has said I can stay with her as long as I need. The reply my parents sent hasn't explicitly said the phrase "we cut you off" but given the context of them replying to my message asking why, it should be enough. Thanks everyone. I felt really shitty cutting them off over finances, but now I know they're pure freaking evil. I don't feel so bad. I've also sent my parents the screenshots of my brother confirming that he and my brother lied about me, and they're very apologetic, but that doesn't change anything. As my brothers live with my parents, I hope they're all very happy together right now. New plan. Changing the focus of my studies going into 3rd year to focus on the subjects I want to do, not the ones my parents wanted me to do. If I do this, I have a far better shot at getting a work placement. It's far less popular than my current field of study. And if I get a work placement, I can spend my 3rd year working full-time, earning a bit of cash, and then resume my studies the following year. Failing this, and if I can't get any help from the university or student finance, then I will defer my 3rd year and work full-time for a year. My friend says I can stay with her as long as I need and has said if I can't get emergency housing but can sort out my placement or another job, then we could get a place together next year, so I have a confirmed roommate. I no longer think I'm tough, so I'll probably be taking this down. So here's the thing. I might not be straight. I'm figuring it out and I don't really have the capacity to go through it right now. But I've never said anything to anyone, at all, ever, because I knew my parents were homophobic. So my brothers may have thought they were lying, but they also may have been inadvertently correct. And I have to say being correct by accident is very typical of them. Update 2. So here's how everything has shaped up. I won't be getting emergency housing from uni. I've not heard anything and there's less than a month left before summer, so I'd be shocked if I got it at this stage. I'm still living with my friend. She got me a job at her workplace but refuses to take any rent off me, so I've been repaying her by sneakily buying food and cooking her dinner as I get home before her. We have plans to move in together this summer, ready for next year. My parents have done a complete 180 and now want me to forgive them so badly that they're still refusing to sign a letter showing they've cut me off, so I'm still fricked with student finance. My parents have also offered me my truck back, so me, my roommate, and 2 more friends will be going to my parents' house sometime soon to collect my truck and some things from my room. My tutor has written a letter for me for student finance which they might accept, but I'm waiting to hear back. My course changes were approved, so now I'm doing what I want, not what my parents want, and it looks like I got my work placement. So I'll be either working and studying part-time for 2 years or working all next year and finishing studies the year after. Either way, I'll be adding an extra year to my course, but I get paid and get relevant experience in my field. Ultimately, everything seems to have worked out as well as it could. Thanks to everyone who commented, because a lot of you had great advice and thought of stuff I didn't, and I was truly concerned that I was in the wrong, so thanks for the reassurance, too. I will also be booking a session with the on-campus mental health professional because this has really shone a light on just how fricked up my family is. Thanks again, not the idiot. I've had to do this before. Go back somewhere I once lived and pick up my things. I called the police non-emergency line and asked for police peace mediators to be there when I retrieved my stuff. They showed up on time and stood there on the lawn while I moved my stuff out. I ended up bringing bagels to the station for them the next day because they truly saved my butt from a horrible time. Not the idiot. Wow, I hate people that say everything happens for a reason. But at least now you know who's got your back in this world and who doesn't. You've got an amazing friend. It's disgusting any parent that would screw over their child for having a same-sex partner, and I can't say any more without breaking rule number 1. Would you ever cut your kids off like this? Let me know in the comments. Now, Aita for wanting to send my teen daughter to a weight loss camp. My daughter is 5'6" and 15 years old. The last time she weighed herself at the doctor's office, she was at 238 pounds. She is morbidly obese. She was always a chubby kid who loved food and hated activity no matter how much her dad and I tried to get her to dance, play sports, go on walks with our dog, etc. She would refuse. I regret not taking her to a nutritionist earlier, but I thought that she would go into puberty and her weight would eventually be okay. Unfortunately, when she was 11, her dad and I decided to get a divorce. No special reason, it just wasn't working. We co-parent well, we're friendly, we go on trips with our daughter, etc. But the divorce impacted her negatively at first. She started gaining a lot of weight around that time, so we decided to take her to a nutritionist who recommended therapy for her. She initially lost about 15 pounds, but she was already very dependent on food. Now, she's a food addict. Her emotional eating was something she used to cope with the divorce until she adjusted. But now it's all about compensating for not having friends, compensating for not being pretty, compensating for not being liked by boys, etc. She still goes to therapy regularly. She doesn't suffer from depression or another health condition that might cause her weight gain. She is simply addicted to food, and at her vulnerable age, mentioning her weight to her makes her very upset and uncomfortable. Her dad and I both know this, and it's been causing arguments between us. I'm a very active, fit person and I try to lead by example. No junk food allowed in the house. I cook as much as I can or I get healthy meal delivery, and this makes me the bad guy. She's into the whole body acceptance movement, and she sold the story to her dad, who now allows her to raid his pantry. And they eat junk together just so he wouldn't upset her because she's daddy's little girl. He's happy that he gets to be the good guy, and I'm the villain who doesn't want her daughter to settle because I want her to live past 35. I encourage her to love herself. I want her to embrace how amazing she is, but I don't want her to accept her condition as something normal that can't be changed. I'm tired of seeing how miserable she is because of her weight, and I'm tired of thinking about all the diseases that could kill her. I found a great weight management treatment facility, edited instead of camp, because it's very different from the infamous fat camps for teens that's 6 hours away. I've done my research, but her dad doesn't want to sign for her to go there from January to July. We can visit her and she can come home once a month. She can go to school there, make friends and get healthy. He says that I'm being a selfish idiot and that our daughter doesn't want to go. She told me that she will think about it, but I think that her dad is loving his role as her superhero because they've bonded in the past months, and will encourage her not to go. Am I the idiot? Edit 1. Again, I've explained everything about this treatment facility, her current therapy and approach to her eating disorder. The fact that the choice is ultimately hers. Yes, we do have a dog, and no, she doesn't want to walk him. No, this isn't a quick fix. No, I don't think my daughter hates me. Edit 2. I sound like a broken record. But please read through my comments before asking the same things over and over. There's a word limit here, and obviously not everything fits in the post. The facility does have therapists, specialists, doctors, and all types of health professionals. They do have ed programs that she would be a part of, and she would be in touch with her current therapist because she has a hard time opening up to new people, so that would help her. I double and triple checked everything and talked to so many parents and employees, but it's ultimately her choice. My fear is that her dad will cloud her judgment by bribing her with food. Edit 3. Thank you guys for all of your responses. I've received a lot of great advice. Your own experience with Ed personal stories, support, and empathy. I appreciate all of it. I'll no longer be replying to comments because I find myself trying too hard to reach people who are twisting my words and using them against me. Maybe I'll post an update within the next few weeks when something happens, but things definitely will change around here. Again, thank you all. Update, hey Reddit. So, my ex wouldn't even consider sending our daughter to get treatment for her eating disorder. We missed the sign-up deadline and my daughter had moved in with her dad full-time thanks to his encouragement. He loved his role as a good parent, and I lost it when my daughter told me that she had stopped talking to her therapist. Desperate, I filed for sole legal custody and a change of housing arrangements in my favor. My ex was upset that I did it without notifying him first, and my daughter refused to talk to me at all. I was exhausted, so I started therapy alone. My therapist told me to write a letter to my daughter, and that's exactly what I did. 4 days later, she agreed to meet me. We didn't talk much at first, but she was happy that I started therapy. She told me that she misses her therapist, but her dad told her that she doesn't need therapy because she's fine. She also said she misses me, but she wasn't ready to move back in with me because of how controlling and restrictive I am. 2 days later, I asked her to go grocery shopping with me, and I had set aside $50 for her to choose the groceries she wants to buy for our home, in case she comes back, and to show her I was ready to change. In the meantime, my ex got served and my daughter and I went through another period of very little contact because of it. Mid-February, she decided to move back in with me if I put the legal actions on hold. This was a smart tactic on her dad's behalf, I'll admit, but she was finally back with me, so I decided to focus on that. I realized that I made the mistake of competing with my ex so many times when I should have focused on my daughter instead. It's been over 2 months and my daughter hasn't spent a single full day at her dad's place. They hang out, but she chooses not to spend extended periods of time at his house. She's been seeing her therapist since moving back in, and she's in a better place now. It took losing her for me to realize that I needed to change too in order to improve our relationship. I learned to relax more and stop being so tense and constantly moving. And she is starting to understand that I'm doing all I can in her favor. She's decided that she wants to lose weight, 23 pounds down, and is hoping to improve her health before college. We have snacks, pizza night, and we bake a dessert together every weekend. Those things I would never allow before, but we're both learning balance. She still doesn't like to exercise, but we do go on late night walks around the block and she's doing more chores. Our relationship has never been this genuine. We have a long way ahead and I'm preparing for the low points that are bound to happen, especially with her dad. But I'm appreciating what we have now. Edit. Just a quick edit to say thank you for all of your kind, supportive, and informative comments. I appreciate it. I apologize if I don't respond to everyone. Edit 2. She follows the approach of intuitive eating combined with balanced meals that don't deprive her of any food type. This way, she's learning the concept of balance and abandoning the concept of food as a coping mechanism or a punishing tool. As far as physical activity goes, I'll definitely talk to her and see if she likes any of the recommendations you have given. While I agree that weight loss can be achieved even without physical activity, I think that abandoning her sedentary lifestyle step by step, literally, is another way of getting healthier, since weight loss isn't a primary goal. I don't have much else to say about her dad other than the fact that I've just recently, with the help of my therapist, realized that he's a classic Disney dad. I know some of you think it's wrong of me to take him to court, but I would stop at nothing to help my kid. I wasn't going to sit back and let him baby her into death and self-loathing while removing her from my life. Not the idiot. I love this post so much. Growing up, I was an overweight, obese child too. I used to beg my parents to let me go to therapy, but I didn't need it, and therapy meant something was wrong with the parents. It was very hard to cope, and I turned to hiding food, developing very disordered eating, and terrible mental mindsets around food. My mom lost a lot of weight and developed disordered eating when I was 12, so it really kicked off a decade of emotional struggle, highs and lows in my weight, and probably a lot of damage to my body. It took going to therapy on my own in my late 20s to correct the damage. Not the idiot. I remember seeing your original post and thinking, wow, not the idiot. I could see how you were maybe a bit harsh. I'm really glad you realized that even if you were right, things needed to change a bit. So many times when we have these conflicts, everyone is at least a little bit in the wrong, and it takes work from every single person involved to improve the relationship and solve the problem.